Hey Pitmasters, what is up? Today we're going to do another rib wrap test video. Look at these beautiful beef ribs. Absolutely gorgeous, right? Look at that marbling. That is so beautiful. It makes me fall in love with beef ribs. And maybe this test video is just another excuse to make more beef ribs. In the Netherlands this is called Jacob's ladder. But basically they are beef flat ribs, but supersized. We already did this test with pork. One of these beef flat ribs is going to be wrapped in butcher's paper. And one of them is going to be wrapped in aluminum foil. The reason that we're doing this test is because I've been wrapping my food in aluminum foil for all of my barbecuing career. And I want to find out if it's better if you wrap it in butcher's paper. But the thing is, we tested this on pork ribs and I couldn't notice much difference. So between aluminum foil and butcher's paper on pork ribs, it doesn't make a difference, so I'm just going to choose what I have laying around. But of course, this is mostly used for bigger cuts like, I don't know, brisket and beef ribs. We're going to let these smoke on the barbecue, wrap them up and see what the difference is. I already lit up the barbecue and set the I command to start it up for me. It's now at 110 degrees, which is 225 degrees Fahrenheit, and I can set it up for an actual cook. I set up the barbecue to smoke at a temperature of 225 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 110 degrees Celsius. And I set the core temperature to be 200 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around 92 degrees Celsius.
But that's our desired temperature?
Yeah. That's the end temperature that we're aiming for. And the first stage is smoking, which is what we're going to do now. So for smoking, we need to set up the barbecue in the right way. We got our charcoal lit up, we got the temperature set. Now I want to add a big chunk of hickory because I find that the flavor profile goes very well with our beef ribs. We're going to set the plate deflectors in the right position and finally the grill grate in the right position. Now we close the lid and let the barbecue come back up to temperature. In the meanwhile, we're going to prepare our meat. We got a little bit of silver skin at the bottom that we want to take off. And look at the amount of fat that's on there, and you can see it clearly here. It's not just fat, it's also silver skin, and that's going to prevent our rub from really sticking to that beef ribs and penetrating. It's also going to prevent the smoke from penetrating, and that's exactly what we're looking for, so it's got to go off. No need to throw this beef fat away. You can render it down and cook something in it. We're going to put a little bit of olive oil on these ribs just to make sure the rub sticks. Beef ribs need a lot of flavor, so as a base we put on salt and pepper. Now we're going to put on the bombastic barbecue rub. We've seasoned these beautiful beef ribs and they're ready to go on the barbecue. If you're a purist and you want to go just salt and pepper, that's fine. It's going to taste amazing anyway. Let's open up the grill, get the beef ribs on. We're going to let these beef ribs smoke for around 2 hours or so, but what we're really looking for is color. If the color changed and if it's picked up enough smoke. We've been smoking our beef ribs for around 3 hours now, and look at them. One is already starting to pull away from the bone. The juices piled up on top. But what is most important to us is that we can see that that smoke flavor actually penetrated the meat, and that's where we're looking for the color. So we got that nice red mahogany color, a little bit of crunchy on the outside. That means that we build up a little bit of bark. Now we know it's time to wrap. I'm going to wrap this one up in my super heavy duty aluminum foil and the second one in our butcher's paper. Wrap it up nice and tight and then they're going back on the grill. So as we know from our experience from smoking ribs in aluminum foil, we know that they're going to be done the fastest. So I'm going to put my probe into the aluminum foil beef ribs. Close the lid and just let it continue to cook at 110 degrees Celsius, which is 225 degrees Fahrenheit. I just got a notification from my I command app. Says our tin foil aluminum foil, it's ready. So we're now at 200 degrees. I'm taking it off the grill. We're just gonna let it sit here. We just want it to cool down a little bit, and that's we're just gonna give it a half an hour or so. It's the same thing with a good steak. You gotta let it rest. We had our probe into the one that is in the aluminum foil, but we need to check on the one that's in the butcher's paper as well. That still has a way to go. We're at 85 degrees Celsius And I think that's gonna take at least another hour or so. Quickly wanna make sure that I got the temperature right. We had the probe in, but I wanna make sure that it's got the same temperature everywhere. Oh. So of course, through that one little hole of the probe, it just runs out all the beautiful juices. Our beef ribs are buttery soft. Let me wrap them back up, making sure that we keep all these juices in and clean up this mess. I kept them nice and warm in our Kamadojoe Classic. Still feels hot. I put a little bit of extra aluminum foil over it just to make sure it keeps warm. Look at that. Super juicy, and it looks super tasty. Totally flexible. And as you can see, we don't have much of a thick, crusty bark on this. It's like turned a little bit soft, but the flavors are definitely there. So what I want to do is I want to take this off, put on a little bit of barbecue sauce, and then slice into it. Hey. Look at that. Look at that. We got juices flowing. Look at that. Crazy juice. Crazy, right? Look at that beautiful, perfect smoke ring. It's just like 0.5 centimeters, 5 millimeters thick smoke ring all around the edge. Let's see if we can take this off the bone. It's just got that little pull to it. Let's take a bite and see what it tastes like. This thing is super juicy. It's so tasty. Now what we see with aluminum wrapped ribs, it's the same thing that we see with the pork wrap ribs. The bark is really soft and it has a lot of flavor, but in the end there's no crunch to it. There's no, texture to it. It's soft, and of course we put barbecue sauce on it, so that makes it soft anyway, but it can be so much more, the bark. But on the other hand, you get a super juicy rib, so that's kind of like the opposite side of it. Now we gotta find out how the beef flat ribs did that we put in the butcher paper. I'm really curious to see how they turned out, but before we start unwrapping them, we're gonna give them a little rest. We waited for a while, the ribs still feel warm to the touch, and I'm really curious to see what happened. I didn't want to wrap it in foil and encapsulate it in the hope that maybe some of that bark is still there. So let's get the paper off and see how it turned out. It's like unwrapping a present. We did this experiment to find out what the difference is between wrapping in aluminum foil and butcher paper. So the expectations was that the butcher paper still breathes a little bit, so there's some of that bark left. Well, only one way to find out: slice into it and take a bite. Well, this is so weird. While I was getting it out of the paper, look what happened. Some of the bones already fell out the bottom. And I wasn't expecting that at all. With the pork ribs, we cooked them to the same temperature, then we let them rest, and I don't know, we cooked them to the same temperature, or almost to the same temperature, not exactly to the degree, but almost the same. So what is the difference? What happened? If you look at the bark, it's much firmer. It's not like the bark on the aluminum foil one. This is actually a bit dry, and it's dry to the touch. So the butcher paper actually worked in keeping the bark as it was, or almost as it was. So I'm curious to see what it looks like on the inside. Let's slice it open and see if it's juicy, if we got a good smoke ring, what happened on the bottom. Since these bones are falling out anyway, might as well get them out of the way. Definitely a juicy rib. Now this is worth trying without barbecue sauce because there's actually a bark there. So let's bite into it. There's definitely a bark there. Absolutely fantastic. I really like that bark. It's really good. It really brings out that beefy flavor. There is a big difference between aluminum foil and butcher paper. Now for good comparison, let's put on some barbecue sauce. This is hot barbecue sauce. I'm just gonna put some on the top. Let's see if we can still taste that bark. still there. Really good. By the way, the smoke ring, absolutely gorgeous. So here's what I think of butcher paper. Summing it all up, we did the pork ribs and there wasn't much difference. Now we did the beef ribs and I must say there is a difference. The butcher paper created more beautiful bark and gave me something that the aluminum foil didn't, and that was flavor. That was that beefy flavor. No need to put on extra things, keep it more natural. Yeah, granted, it was a little less juicy than the aluminum foil one, but the flavor was top notch. If you like it juicy, go for aluminum foil. If you like bark, go for the butcher paper. Let's give the cameraman a slice and see what he thinks. So what do you like better? What is it?
Butcher paper.
Butcher paper?
Yeah.
Me too. Last time we didn't agree with the beef jerky, but now we definitely agree. Butcher paper, it is the thing. For me, for my cameraman, we appreciated it more on our beef ribs. So this is our outcome. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, then leave us a comment down below. I want to know what your favorite way is to cook beef ribs. I want to say a big thank you to our Patreons as well, and the people that support us right here on YouTube by being a member. If you don't know what that is, go down below to the video description. It's all there. And I would appreciate it if you can support us. Maybe you can help translate this video. There's also a link down below for that. And well, in the meantime, keep on grilling and eet smakelijk.